Alright, hello people, and welcome back to another episode of Stars and Garters. I am Katie Pettit, still, and so look at me getting an episode done on time. It's crazy. I'm gonna try to do that like all the time now. That's like the thing I decided I'm gonna do, is like do the episodes on the day that I said I would do them, so I'm gonna hopefully get that started. Okay, so as you know, today is Random Fandom Friday, where I can talk about whatever I want, and I've been needing to, let's say, come out of the closet about something. Now, I mean, like, I've already basically revealed that I'm into it. I just, in a few other episodes, I just haven't fully, told you the extent of how much I like this thing. And so technically I'm kind of out of the closet, just not all the way. I'm kind of like creepily standing in the doorway of the closet. And I don't think this analogy is good at all, so I'm going to stop using it. Anyway, today we are going to be diving into Danny Phantom. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to tell a story about this shirt because it's great. I believe that Jesus sent me this shirt, so here's why. Okay, so I'm in a mall, right? And, like, with some of my friends, and we're at this store with a bunch of, like, t-shirts that were made. They have, like, mostly just, like, shows or whatever, a bunch of, like, Ninja Turtles, Powerpuff Girls, and stuff. And I'm just looking around, because some of them are kind of cool looking, and I'm looking through the designs, and I see this thing, Danny Phantom, and it was, like, just after I'd gotten into Danny Phantom. It's crazy. And I was like, oh, man, I want that shirt. So I look for it, where it's supposed to be in the shirt stuff, and it is not there, and I'm very sad. And my lovely friend was like, hey, I'll just go ask if they have any more in the bag. And so she did that, and they were like, okay, I'll go check in the bag. They pulled out one shirt, and they were like, all right, we only have this. And then it was in my size, my exact size. And I was like, okay, so Jesus wanted me to have this shirt, and it's amazing. So, yeah, awesome. It's a great shirt. I love it very much. So, and yeah. So let's just get into it after I tell you about my shirt. So first, for those of you who don't know, which is probably most of you who listen to this podcast, because I know most of you, and I don't really know anyone who's as into Danny Phantom as I am, or into it at all, and it's kind of sad, but whatever. I'll just make a podcast about it. That's just as good as talking to someone about it enthusiastically. Okay, so basically, it's, young Danny Fenton. He was just 14 when his parents built a very strange machine. It was designed to view a world unseen. That's the theme song, and I'm gonna stop saying it now because I don't want to go all the way through it. But yeah, so basically it's about this kid, and his parents are like super into ghosts and stuff, and they build a portal that's supposed to be to like the ghost world, and then they don't think it works because it doesn't really do anything when they plug it in. And so Danny, 14-year-old Danny, Mr. Daniel Fenton, he walks into the portal and he gets electrocuted because his parents are very safe with their children. He gets electrocuted and technically dies a little bit, so he becomes half ghost. So, he's not really all the way dead, he's just mostly dead. And so he becomes half ghost, and he has ghost powers now. And he realizes that the ghost portal is not really helpful at all because it kind of just releases ghosts into the world. It doesn't really do much of anything else. So, he just has to fight the ghosts that come out, and then that's the show, him just fighting the ghosts and being a ghost fighter. And it's pretty cool. So, let's just get into the rest of the episode, which is just me talking about why it's great. So, first of all, I found this show because I was watching a Peter Holland's Nickelodeon theme song medley. Just found it, and I was like, okay. I didn't get most of them because I was never allowed to watch Nick. As I've said before, I was never allowed to, watch Disney Channel or Nicktoons when I was, around kind of the age demographic they're aiming for. So now I'm watching them, and I found it, and I was like, oh, it's a rap theme song, that's weird. And I was like, So if it's a rap theme song, it must be a little cool, because only the cool shows get rap theme songs. Or like the shows with just a different, cooler, more, I don't know, mature vibe. Technically, not technically. I don't know. Just I don't. I thought it would be cool because it had a rap theme song, and I was like, I should check this out. I realized that I could because we have something that it's on, and so I watched it, and I really liked it, like a lot. Like, you know, like not a normal amount. Like I thought it was really great and stuff. So I will explain why it is great. Just like uh, first of all, I will say the theme song, which I told you about. I talked about it in my last episode, top 10 children's theme song. Spoilers, it was my number one because it is absolutely amazing. It just like from the minute it starts, there's like this just sick little bass line, and it's just like, and it's the verses are just the pilot of the show, which is great. I think it's smart. Like some people would be like, oh no, they're too lazy to create a pilot, but like you don't even have to have a pilot. You can get right into the action. You don't have to do this whole origin story. And they like reference it later in the show, so like, you know. But even my little brother acknowledges that it's just so great. And he's like, he's a child, so he doesn't know a lot of things, but he knows it's a great theme song. Like when we watched the show together, he's like, why do they even have a skip intro button? Who would skip this intro? And I'm like, I know, crazy people who don't appreciate perfect theme songs. But yeah, so that's just a great element. If you're into like voice actors, which I'm not as into them as just normal actors, but like it's got a pretty great cast. I know it has, what's her name? Great Lyle. She does a lot of stuff and she's really good. It features Tara Strong. What's her name? I always forget her name. She plays. Oh, I don't want to say that. Yeah, but yeah, and there's a lot of cool guest stars like Will Arnett. The first guest star on the first episode was Patricia Heaton, so I was kind of like, oh, I'm gonna like this show. she's the mom on the middle, so I was like, this is gonna be good. And let's see, Mark Hamill came in the third season, and he did a great job, of course, duh. But yeah, just a lot of, I think Alec Baldwin's brother was also one. But yeah, a lot of great voice acting, talented people, of course. It's usually, you know, just good. Voice actors are usually pretty good at their job, so, you know. But the main thing for me is about the show that I like is it's a kids show. Obviously, they are going to market it toward kids. It's a cartoon. It's, you know, cute, not cute. It's just like a fun little superhero thing for kids, but it's one of those shows where it just feels like anyone could enjoy it. Like they could just sit down and watch, and like, you know, the parents wouldn't just hate watching this with their children, you know. It's got a lot to appreciate about it because it's not super kiddie. Even though it's a kid show, it's not very like kiddie, you know. Um, but because first of all, the things that always are usually really kiddie about kids shows are like the humor, obviously, and then like if it's supposed to be kind of a action adventure kids show, usually it's kind of not really. But the thing about this show is it does really well with its humor because it knows it has teenage protagonists. One thing it does really well is it gets their sarcastic and kind of acerbic humor down really well, and it does sometimes revert to like cheesy little, you know, the kids will get this one humor, but it also does a really good job of just they sound like teenagers and they're kind of sarcastic about everything, and it's funny like that, and that's kind of the vibe of the humor most of the time, and I like that. That's I like that style a lot. I like sarcasm. And then as for the action, it's pretty obvious that Butch Hartman, the creator of the show, is something of a comic book fan because you can tell every episode starts with like the kind of a title page or something, you know, like a just a shot of the episode's title and like a little action drawing thing there, which I really enjoy. And then I've like watched some of his YouTube videos, and he said that he's a comic fan. He said he wanted to kind of make him a little like Spider-Man. He kind of is like that. He has that sort of like young hero, humorous, like I don't know, quippy kind of vibe. And yeah, and he even has like a who's Spider-Man's bully? Flash, right? No, that's not his name. Is it? I don't know. But Danny's bully is Dash, and he's like Spider-Man's bully, and it has that really cool parallel. But then the action is kind of like comic style. It's like not even comic movie. It's like it looks more like it came from a comic. Even sometimes they just have like those shots of just like still images to show the action, and I think it looks really cool. And it works well with it being a kid show, but it's like it actually works well because I feel like he was influenced by the comics, which always are fun, have good action like that. I mean, usually, and it shows in the show. It's like, okay, this is actually like interesting, and I wanna watch this. Danny Phantom has great characters. Like, for the first episode, they just established the character's personality really well, and they all have interesting personalities. Like, I mean, Tucker is the only one who's like, okay, he's comedic relief. He doesn't really have anything. He gets an episode where he gets a few episodes where he's like more than that, but mostly he's just comedic relief, and he's also a nerd. That's probably why he's comedic relief, but he's into like technology and stuff. But you have like Sam, and she's like this goth, and she never wants to be uh doing anything that's popular. And then Danny's like slightly insecure and nerdy, but he's also very like, I don't know what's the word. He's just got that quippy superhero vibe. He's a lot like Spider-Man in his personality. Like, as his human side, he's kind of neurotic and not the most popular guy. And then as a superhero, he's like all witty and kind of confident, except he also has that young superhero thing where he doesn't really know what he's doing, which is nice, and I like to see that because it's fun because they progress and stuff. My personal favorite character from this show is Danny Phantom. Danielle Phantom, so Danny with an I. She's only in 2 episodes, 3 if you count the finale, where she is like literally in one frame in the background, which I don't because I want to see more of her like actually doing stuff. But basically, she's she's kind of like the X-23 of Danny Phantom because she's a clone of Danny, created by Danny's arch nemesis Vlad, and she was bad at first, but then she got good. And but she's got that kind of spunky little girl child, cute little you know what I mean? Kind of like Vanellope Von Sweet. She's kind of got that little spunky, little excitable, but still kind of cool, but also really cute little girl with superpowers. And she's really fun. Her story is really good. All of her episodes are really done well because the first one is about her being bad and then being good, and then the second one is like kind of dark, and I kind of like it because it's like she's melting, and because she's a clone and she's not stable, and they have to fix her, and it's crazy, and she almost dies, and it's all this kind of stuff. But she's a really fun character. I really wish there was more of her, but there's not. There's not even her in the book that came after the show. She just kind of disappears, and we have to assume that she went on to do great things. But she's great. But all of these characters are very easy to like get invested in and be like, ooh, I like you. I want to see what happens to you. I want to see you get better at life. But yeah, they're really really good at that. Speaking of characters, Danny has an excellent rogues gallery. Like for a kid show, like his villains, the list of his villains is so good. My personal favorite, I do like Ember. Everyone likes Ember. She's teenage kind of like musician ghost, and she is very rebellious, and she doesn't like adults, so she's fun. That not that that's a good thing. She's just, I don't know how to explain after what I just said. so we're gonna move on. And I really like the box ghost. So he's almost exclusively comedic relief character, because all he does every episode is he pops up around boxes and says beware, and usually Danny just like shoots him and he's gone. But they gave him an episode where he like acquired some sort of, I think he acquired like Pandora's box, and he became super all powerful, and it was really funny. So, but the just so many great villains. We got like the Skulker is probably the villain that comes up the most. Like he pops up a lot in the third season. Like sometimes instead they would sometimes get like a new villain almost every other episode, but then at the third season they kind of like brought some back. And Skulker appeared quite a lot. He was like a Ghost Stone's greatest hunter, and he would be trying to hunt Danny and kill him and such. So that's fun. And they have like Walker, the ghost jail guy, and like Johnny 13. Just all of these villains, so many villains, and it's just excellent. There were a couple like one-off villains, but they were still fun for the one episode. And it's just like it's really cool how they just thought up all of these cool villains, and they usually get brought back up, and you see what happens to them after their main episode. So they do that really well. And then of course Danny's big bad, however, is Vlad Masters, and like he's Danny's dad's old friend, and it is his thing, and he really likes Danny's mom a lot, and he keeps hitting on her all the time, and it's a little uncomfortable, but that's his thing. And he's also half ghost, and so he's trying to do stuff and take over the world and such, and all that good villainry. And so that just the Rogues Gallery is very, very impressive. I like it. I like it a lot. Another thing that like this show does surprisingly well for like a kids show, is the story like follows through the whole show. There are no useless episodes that you could just kind of like throw away and literally nothing happens to the plot. Like it's there's like actual progression, things that happened earlier in the series come back and have consequences, and it all wraps up and all the ends get all tied up nice like. And it's just very impressive for a kid show that they actually cared enough to make a plot that follows through the whole series. And I've heard a lot of people actually say that the third season of Danny Phantom is like not as good as the first two, and I don't really get why. I feel like part of it might be because I don't really know. There's not like as many new villains in it, or I don't know, something like that, or a few episodes don't matter like as much. But I feel like they still do a good job of bringing the show to like a close, and they like build everything up and then tie it up with that last episode. I feel like they did that pretty well. I mean, like a lot of people were disappointed with the ending, because in the last episode the whole thing, it does get a little like wacky, I guess. Maybe like a little far-fetched maybe, but like basically what happens is a giant asteroid from space comes, and it's like about to destroy the earth, and Vlad thinks that he can like become ruler of the world by revealing that he's half ghost, and he like says he'll protect the earth from the asteroid if they like make him ruler or whatever. And then he realizes he can't because ghosts can't touch it, and like Danny has to save the world by making the whole world intangible with all of the ghosts. And so I mean, I guess it was like a little weird or whatever, but I thought it worked pretty well, because they wrapped everything up. At the end of the series, Danny reveals to everyone that he's Danny Phantom, which they actually reversed in the book that came out after the show, which I didn't really, I don't know, I wasn't too crazy about. They explained it really well, but it's just that part to me was really satisfying about the ending, and the book's ending was still satisfying, just the other was more satisfying, and I liked it more, and I wish they didn't change that, but headcanon and such, so that's fine. um, but yeah, and like Sam and Danny, his friend Sam and him are like, their relationship is teased throughout the whole show, and they kiss and they make out, and it's so sweet and cute and whatever. And yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention Valerie, didn't I, in the characters? There's this one character named Valerie, and she starts out as, like, just kind of one of the shallow, like, popular girls that they have in those situations. Whenever there's teenagers in a show, you gotta have one of those, and she was just part of that crowd. And then she, like, became a character, apparently, because, like, she had this whole thing where her dad's job was ruined by ghosts, and so she became a really good ghost hunter, and her and Danny dated for a while, and she was, like, maybe a better, like, antagonist than Vlad, and she's, like, one of the best, most developed characters in the show, and, like, but, I don't know, Danny and Sam, like, they make sense, because they do, I guess. I don't really know why, but the show just gives it to you, and it looks right, so I guess it seems right to me. I've heard it said that Valerie would have been a better love interest, is why I was thinking of her, but I don't know. I think Sam and Danny work. I'm trying not to say, like, too much about the show, because I think you should watch it. Like, explain too much plot, but I already have, so. But still watch it, because it's good. And so finally, I'd like to mention about the show. This is, like, one of the best episodes, in my opinion, that I've seen in any kids show. But there's a, made-for-TV movie, which is just an extra long episode of Danny Phantom in the second season, called The Ultimate Enemy. And this episode is just, like, ridiculously good for a kids show. It is also pretty dark, like, in just grand scheme of thing, it's not that dark, but for, like, a show that's marketed to kids, it does get a little dark. So basically, in this amazing, masterful episode, Danny has a big test coming up, and he cheats on it, and somehow I forgot how, because I need to rewatch that episode, but him cheating leads to an explosion at the okay, I know that was a bit of a jump, but it makes sense if you watch the episode, I think. So all of his friends and family are in this restaurant called the Nasty Burger, and it leads to an explosion, and all his friends and family die. And so he is very sad, naturally, and he goes to Vlad, and he asks him to extract his human side, because he doesn't want to feel feelings anymore, because he's so sad. So Vlad does it, and then he, like, extracts the ghost half from the human half, and this is all in the future, by the way, like a kind of alternate future or something like that. I don't really know how to use the correct time words, but so in the future, when he extracts his ghost side, it has no emotion, so it's, like, evil, and it just wants to kill stuff. So the ghost half, like, extracts Vlad's ghost half and merges with it, and it becomes, like, this super evil looking, creepy little ghost bad guy, and with no feelings or anything, and just wants to go kill things. So it goes off and it does that. Actually, no, it murders Danny's human half first, and then goes off and kills stuff and does that. So basically, the episode is this ghost. Oh, what is it? Clockwork? Yeah, I think it's Clockwork. Clockwork goes, and he's been tasked to kill Danny in the present so that he never becomes evil Danny. But Danny goes and he beats Dark Danny, and it's this whole deal, and he learns the lessons, and it's just really good. And it's so good. The episode is very good. It's the only thing about the episode is Dark Danny never comes back. Never. He does not appear in the show again. He is the main antagonist of the book, but it would have been nice for him to get on another episode. That would have just been cool. But the episode that they gave us was really, really well done. Had a very, very compelling storyline and an awesome villain. If he had only appeared more than once, but it is what it is. But yeah, I've basically explained to you most of the things that I love about it. If there was someone here to ask me more questions, I would say more things, but this is just off the top of my head. This is why I love this series, and, like, it doesn't look like, if you just, like, watched a few seconds of it, or if you just saw, a picture of it or whatever, or just read a description of it, you really would not think it would be enjoyable for anyone but like little children. But it is. It's very fun and very actiony, and I feel like you can get into it no matter how old you are, because I did, and I am past the age group that they were aiming for. But yeah, it's a solid show, and I would be happy to watch it anytime. I just watched it literally like 30 minutes ago. So I'm still into it, and I would check it out if I were you. Some people are. I don't know anyone else who's into it except me, just all alone, into it by myself. So if you're listening to this, you likely know me. So go watch it, and I hope you like it, because I want to talk to somebody about it. But that's why we have podcasts, so we can talk to ourselves and not look weird. But yeah, Danny Phantom, great show, great stuff, good times. Yeah, that's the end of the episode, so I'm gonna say the stuff that I say at the end. Follow me on the Spotify or wherever, because I think it's on Spotify. It's the Amazon thing. So follow me. I like followers. I say that every time, but I really do. The numbers just getting bigger, it just makes me happy, and that feels like it shouldn't, because it's pretty insignificant, but it does. So do me a favor and go ahead and follow, and leave a comment on, whether I'm trying to. I should really not talk about the question before I've made up the question, but I'm gonna continue to do that because I don't learn. So, leave a comment on, like, what are your thoughts about Danny Phantom? Like, have you heard of it? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Why? Why would you say that? Stuff like that. And watch the show. It's worth a try. Please try it. Try it out for me. But yeah, that is gonna be all for this episode. I will see you hopefully next Monday. I'll get the time right, I promise.